Not sure, but big fan.
I have no clue who y'all are talking about right now.
You wouldn't, Bobo. You don't spend enough time on
That's
Twitter,
right.
which is a good thing.
Your brain's not.
I know who
Your
Jimmy
brain's
Fallon
not
is.
fully rotted yet.
It's the IDP show, now you know.
Welcome to the IDP show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Sode Shack tonight, Adam Markham, Bobby Reynolds. It is the Week 8 recap, gentlemen. We're about halfway through the season. Feels like season should be wrapping up right about now, Addy, with all the injuries, and it's just been a little bit of a tough year, but we're here. We fight on, and we're bringing you all the Week 8 recap with all the headlines you need to know.
It's been a grind, but I think we're all stronger because of it, you know?
Bobby, do you feel stronger? Is that how you feel? Would you describe yourself that way?
No, I'm definitely weaker at this point.
Yes.
8 weeks in.
Crippled. How's the neck, by the way? Last week, the neck was in a bad
range.
What day
Full
did it
range
finally give way?
Loosen up.
I had to miss Keeneland because it was so bad.
Dude, funny enough, we stayed with the in-laws, slept, sleeping on a new bed at our age, it's always a real dicey proposition.
Yeah.
Had a pillow that was too tall, so I had my neck craned like this, woke up, bad neck.
There you go.
You just passed it on to me.
It is contagious.
I inherited your bad neck,
Certainly
unfortunately.
is.
So
Yeah, much better this week. Played golf Sunday, so yeah, everything's good.
Real trooper
for now.
Trooper for being here last week. There's no chance I'm showing
you were
up.
absolutely Frankenstein in it, though.
Yeah, it was certainly. A lot of people were saying it was my MJ flu game. So
A lot of people did say that.
I agree.
Are the people that said that in the room with us, Addy?
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the forums and
In the forums, in the streets,
in the
and
comments.
whatnot. The comments, yeah,
Sure.
they were alive with talk of your bad neck.
Josh was pipping over here carrying you, and I was just kind of Rodman sitting in the
Sure.
floor waiting for the refs to
absolute
start
head
the game
case.
again.
The absolute head case. Got your crazy pink hair. Yeah. Well, welcome in, folks. We're glad you're here. We're going to be talking through a dozen of the biggest storylines to come out of Week 8. And there were some good ones. As crappy as that Monday Night Football game was on paper, actually gave us some pretty electric performances, boys.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to start. TJ Watt, as brilliant as a 1,000-watt light bulb. TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith wrecked shop on Monday Night Football. Watt finished with 7 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, 2 QB hits, 1 forced fumble that he recovered himself. Highsmith had 4 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, and 6 QB hits. Watt is back to being the IDP 1 overall this season by Big 3 scoring, just ahead of Andrew Van Ginkel and Fred Warner. I know we get a little tired of talking TJ Watt just because he's so good. It's kind of routine and monotonous at this point, Addy, but we got to give the dude his flowers after a performance like last night.
Yep. That's what he does. Does it all the time. But yeah, he had been a little slow to start this season, right? Like, 4.5 sacks up until last night. Got 2 of them, and they were in big, massive moments. So, that's what he does. He always seems to come through at the very end of the games too. When because usually the quarterback's pressing, trying to make a play, that they usually tend to hold on the ball longer. You see that a lot in IDP. Your big time edge rushers usually can have some pretty big fourth quarters.
Yeah, those offensive linemen get tired. Quarterbacks are pressing, especially if their name is Danielle Jones or Daniel Dones, as Malik Neighbors said. That was one of those too where the Giants edge rushers got in on the fun as well. I think both Brian Burns and Azeez Ojulari had a sack in that game.
Shout out Bob. His boy Azeez.
Azeez.
Love to see it.
Hey, was Azeez who you meant to say when you were talking about a top 5 finish and 17 sacks?
No, I meant to say Kayvon.
Okay.
I'm still in on Kayvon. Let's talk about Trent Jordan Watt real quick. So I looked back, theidpshow.com. I'm in Adam's ranks. If you didn't know, you could jump back and actually look at like points per game. So Trent Jordan Watt in 2020, he had 22.8 points per game. In 21, 26.3. In 22, 15.8. In 23, 22.7. And currently has Big 3 scoring 19.8 points per game through 8 weeks. So the IDP 1, Trent Jordan Watt, is still special. He's a guy that I bought in Nico's league. I think I bought him. Yeah, I did. I went and traded for Trent Jordan.
Didn't you also get him in XFFL?
I have him in the XFL. I will tag and extend him probably if there's not a buyer amongst us.
His
amongst us.
asking price, little rich.
I'm not going to be giving up
20
first,
points
Bobo.
per game.
You already have 5 first-round
20
picks
points
next
per
year.
game, pretty special. Pretty special. But no, seriously, I mean, TJ Watt's the type of guy that I want to buy right now, you know? Pretty special.
It's good to see Highsmith back as well. We
Yeah.
enjoyed the Nick Herbig, him big era in Highsmith's absence, but 4 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, 6 QB hits. People, if your scoring system doesn't score QB hits and you have the ability to, please change that because it makes guys like this so much more valuable. I think you famously said, what would you rather your player have, like 10 tackles or 4 QB hits? And you were like, you understand how shook that quarterback is going to be after 4 QB hits from the same player?
Oh, dude. It'll be the Sam Darnold effect, seeing ghosts.
Yes, dude.
It'll run him for half a decade.
Dropping the eyes, stepping up in a clean pocket, running when you don't have to. I mean, it's just all these bad habits that then snowball throughout the game. So,
And only Kevin O'Connell can fix that.
it's true.
That's right.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell and I guess Todd Bowles
Sure.
with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, it's
Good
going
point.
south though for us though. You see, right?
Yeah, it will. It's
it's
it
going there.
feels.
now.
Hey, y'all got your left tackle replacement though, Cam Robinson. How about that?
Yeah, he's not Darisaul.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, that was
tough.
ACL and MCL. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
tough.
after he got the big bag.
Yeah, good for him though. Glad he got paid.
Yeah, a lot of that going around, man.
Yeah,
Ton-
Godwin.
Godwin, Ayuk,
Yeah, I was gonna say Ayuk was the one that comes to mind.
the guy that just got done today, Diggs.
Uh-huh.
Diggs, got all his money this year, right, and got all his money voided for 2025. So
That
he was
sucks.
set to hit the free agent market. So yeah, that's a bummer because it's a tough way to go into free agency. But good to have TJ Watt doing TJ Watt things. Good to have Alex Highsmith back in our lives. Let's go though, Bobo, to not LA, not Tennessee,
Yeah.
but to Seattle. Ernest Jones traded from the Titans to the Seahawks for Jerome Baker and a 4th-round pick. This happened after we recorded last week's episode. Unlike Baker, who didn't play in Week 8, Ernest Jones got the start. 15 tackles, 19.8% tackle rate in his debut. Anyone worried that a change of scenery would ruin their Ernest shares is breathing a sigh of relief right now. Once again, not often, Bobo, we see the double trade in a season. Little bit of I wonder how Ernest will acclimate. Well, it seems like he's acclimating just fine there in Seattle.
Now, y'all will have to tell me if my expectation is a little bit, too out of whack, if I've got my head over my skis a little bit. But I think Ernest is about to be special. I think Seattle's kind of, played around a little bit with kind of filling in some linebackers for the last year or two. They realized all of a sudden, Ernest is available. We will do anything that we can to get him up here. They're going to give him a fat extension. He's about to be the linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks, the Bobby Wagner replacement for the next, what type of deal will he get? Will he get a 4-year deal?
Like a 3 or 30
Yeah,
something,
sure.
Yeah.
right? Maybe.
I think so. I think that's definitely on the table
But
if he plays well, and he's off to a good start.
But I think from an IDP production, I have Ernest probably top 5 for the, dynasty LBs for the next couple years. And if that's too high, you tell me. But I think Ernest in Seattle is set up to be pretty damn special.
I want to see what this does to Dotson. Dotson had been tailing off a little bit before this trade happened. I think Mike McDonald was like, all right, let's roll with Jerome Baker. Let's get Dotson. Let's kind of see how this goes. And they're like, nope, we need a clear upgrade at linebacker. Slot Dotson into that LB2 role. Ernest, you're the green dot, 100% of snaps guy. I think that's going to be his role moving forward for this team. I certainly feel better about him in Seattle than I did in Tennessee because Seattle actually paid more to acquire him than the Titans did, getting him from the Rams.
Yeah, exactly. They gave up a 4th and
Jerome Baker. Yep.
So that's pretty nice compensation. So that to me tells me that a extension is going to come more than likely, just because they gave up some stuff to get this guy. So Will's up for Ernest Jones. Usually it's not a good thing to be traded twice in a season.
Yeah.
But
The Titans are tanking. You know that.
Yeah.
They trade Hopkins. They trade Ernest Jones. I'd say they probably will have more moves on the way. They're rolling out Mason Rudolph. I know Will Levis had the injury. It was weird that he played, but then I think the injury got worse, so we need to sit him back down. It's just that team feels like top 3 overall pick, maybe hitting reset at quarterback.
Going to a Titans game here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Are you?
Playing the Vikings.
Oh, boy.
You're going?
Yeah, I'm going.
All
Me and
right.
Simon are going.
Nice.
Look at ya.
Yeah.
Love that. That'll be
Father-son
fun.
time.
I'll trade you Jefferson that week, and then you just send him back.
That'd
That
be
way
real
you can
nice.
watch
That'd
That's
be
the
real
least you can do.
Hey,
Trey,
if-
how about this week?
I'll think about
Hey,
it.
if Steve gets us tickets to sit on the 50-yard
Yeah.
line again, you can have Justin Jefferson. How about that?
All right, cool.
Come on, Steve. Come through.
Come
Come
through. Yeah. Ernest, I lost my train of thought there, Joshy.
I don't know that I'm as high on him in Dynasty, but I do love his outlook for the rest of the
So
season.
like this is one of the things where in the off season, I do hope that it comes out where it's like, everybody's always like, well, I actually had a broken femur all year. And
I was actually decapitated for half the season.
I hope that the Rams info comes out about Ernest as far as like why, what happened here. I hope there's a little bit more clarity in the offseason as far as why we moved
here's
on.
what it is, man.
Yeah.
I really think they got cute thinking we don't want to pay Ernest.
Yeah, maybe.
And we can patch this together with Omar Spates and Rose Boom and Troy Reader. I really think that was it.
I think you're probably right, and it was probably one of those things where they're like, man, Ernest is pretty good, but we think we can replace him with like 2 or 3 guys, and I don't think you can. I didn't think Spates looked really good last week. And for the few people that think that Ernest Jones got ran over on that goal line, tackled in the game there, I can't remember.
Well, he got no, that wasn't
His helmet got popped off.
Yes, that's what it was.
He was blocking. I don't know. He was really engaged in the play, but there's also I think Balding or maybe actually came out with a tweet saying like, all you people that think that Ernest kind of got abused on that play, look at this like slip block for a tackle in the backfield. Ernest is still that dude. Top 5 dynasty too high?
No, he's in that range.
It depends if he gets the long-term extension.
Sure.
Then yes, I'm willing to have that conversation.
But I mean, the Jerome Baker and compensation probably leads you to believe.
Yes, I agree.
Some money's coming.
Let's look at him while we're talking about him.
Well, two.
So Fred Warner, Roquan.
I think yes, but I was going to say after the top 2,
Yeah.
I think you could have a wide open conversation.
I agree. I have JOK, Foye, Bolton,
I think
Alshire, Quincy. So yeah, he belongs in that mix. I think.
I think
talk about
Edgerrin
it.
Cooper's going to be moving up.
Edgerrin
We'll
Cooper's-
talk about him in just a minute.
he's at 9, and then he's crushing it.
Yeah,
Also from a points per snap perspective.
because he's
Very
been
good.
really limited
Yeah.
in terms of his snaps, but the output has been freaky.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, let's keep rolling because we can have the conversation there once we talk about Edgerrin Cooper. But boys, I hate to break it to you all, but it is time to dump Myles Garrett. Maybe you can get a 4th round pick if you're lucky. Settle for a 5th. No, I think there was a little bit of insane chatter this week about moving on from Myles Garrett, who did have his second.
That's really happening?
That's really happening. Yeah, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Addy, but Street's talking about maybe just moving on from Myles Garrett.
To what? What are you gonna get? What's better? Like to Max Crosby? Is that what we're moving on to?
I think in this person's world they'd be
To TJ
saying,
Watt.
yeah, let's just trade him for AVG.
Yeah.
We're stat watchers, we're box score chasers, and he's producing more. But let's just have the conversation. All right, 2nd quiet game in a row, 3rd game under 8 points by Big 3 scoring. Some people are saying it's time to sell, move on. We'll gladly take a guy averaging 14.1 points per game on just 4 sacks who had 9 pressures in the last game. And then here are the finishes by Big 3 scoring the last 4 seasons, in case you were wondering. 2023, DL8. 2022, DL4. 2021, DL5. 2020, DL10. I think that averages out to about DL7 or so. So yeah, Bobo, I think maybe we've gotten a little spoiled babies with the DL7 on average the last 4 seasons.
You think losing plays into this at all? Like, I mean, you think he's just kind of a little bummed this year to where it's like, dude, I'm just tired of being this whole Deshaun. You know,
but you got
Jameis
Winston
is
now.
Jameis is
Yeah,
the juice
firing
is
people
back
up.
in the building.
And also, I look at like the 14.1 points, 0.1 points per game, and I think, okay,
yeah.
I imagine we're gonna have a bigger second half because this
sure.
is Myles freaking Garrett. We've seen it for the past 4 or 5 years,
And as disappointing as he is, you know where he's sitting right now?
probably top 15.
DL20.
Wow.
Yeah,
Edge rusher's probably top 15.
you're fine. I
Yeah,
don't think
like-
you felt it that much.
But the bigger point
everyone's
too,
taking zeros.
it's what you said, Adam, as far as like, what are you moving to? You know?
Yeah.
Who are you trading Myles Garrett for right now?
yeah,
You know, you're not going to get an AVG because you're paying sticker price now for
Well,
AVG.
and you're going to move off of Myles Garrett when he just had a second kind of dud game? That seems like even if you did want to sell and cash out, that's the wrong time to sell.
Yeah.
You're selling coming off of 2 bummer games. I don't know. That's just bad practice all the way around. Malpractice.
I'm not even sure right now if don't get me wrong, I love Jared Verse, but I'm not even sure if I have Myles Garrett, if I'm trading him for a guy like Jared Verse. Like, that's something based on your team setup and where you're at right now as far as contender.
That's a conversation, yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of leagues where maybe people would be like, oh, I'm not doing very well. I probably need to get some youth going. But there's a lot of teams where it's like, I don't see Myles Garrett much different than TJ Watt. They're both similar age.
They're in that top tier we always talk about.
If I think I'm going to be a contender within the next 5 years, I want Myles Garrett on my team.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of,
I'm going to be a contender within the next 5 years. It's
kind of like if you have Fred or Roquan, you don't trade them. If you have Myles Garrett, Micah, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, maybe Nick Bosa,
Max Crosby.
Crosby.
Yeah.
Maga
Bosa.
You've got how many edge defenders did I talk about?
There's
6 or 7?
There's like a top 5. There's like a big 5.
Those are the ones you pretty much don't trade. Maybe even Jared Verse is in that conversation at this point.
Getting there.
But I mean, those are the people in IDP that you really don't move unless you're just getting a ton.
Yeah, unless you're getting a first-round pick in most instances.
And a lot of times, to me, 3 dimes don't make a dollar. So, like, it's one of those situations where, like, Myles Garrett for a fourth. No, if you're getting a first for Myles Garrett, if you're getting something like,
if you're getting
a lot of compensation for
sticker
him,
price,
that's another conversation to have.
But
don't
to just
try and
move
replace
on
him for another player.
Move on and kind of implies that you're just taking whatever you can get.
You're getting Trayvon Walker.
You lose all your leverage when you have this posture of like, I'm moving on regardless.
I'm throwing my hands up. I'm sick of this.
Yeah, I'm sick of a top 7 DL for the last 4 seasons.
It's too much.
And we feel that crunch right now just because the variance over the course of it, you're going to have a couple bad games back to back sometimes
because we're
with
spoiled.
DL. That's how it goes,
we're
man.
We're spoiled.
You'll take the single digit outputs because 35 points is coming right around the bend.
Yeah. It just sounds to me like a lot of people that haven't been playing IDP long enough.
Yeah. This is how it goes, guys. This is
the way
DL.
it is.
I hate to break it to you. Well, speaking of DL, Uche was right there, Detroit. We've been talking all season, especially now with the Aiden Hutchinson injury. Detroit, let's go, guys. Add an edge rusher. Like, I know you guys are sniffing your own farts after blowing the Titans off the face of the earth, but, like, let's go get some help. Let's gear up and try our best to replace what Aiden Hutchinson was giving us.
Did Dan Campbell not hint at that in a video?
Kind of did.
Okay.
Zadarius Smith, I think, has been linked to them quite a bit.
He's been playing well lately.
I think that's probably the most likely outcome I would expect to maybe see. But if the Browns start winning, it's like you got to strike while you have an opportunity, because what happens if Cleveland rips off, a couple wins in a row here? And I think the trade deadline, it's actually Election Day. It's coming up on Tuesday now, as we sit here. A week from today is the trade deadline.
Sick.
So now I think Cleveland's kind of feeling like, okay, maybe we could make some noise, even at 2-6, I think they are sitting right now, 2-5. So let's go, guys. But Josh Uche was, I think, inactive on Sunday. And, of course, that kind of hints like, all right,
something's happening.
This is a trade's about to go down. They don't want damaged goods. He's now a Kansas City Chief. They traded him on Monday morning, sending away just a 6th-round pick 2 years from now. In 2026, he is set to be a free agent at the end of this year. So these last 9 games will act like an interview of sorts, as Kansas City will need to decide whether they wish to extend him or not. Bobo, did you add this note here? Only averaging 34% snap share with the Pats in 2024.
Really low.
After they brought this guy back.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the case the last couple of years there with Uche. But he, like, from a PFF standpoint, crushes it. Like, he's always got a really, really good-looking pressure rate. But yeah, it is weird. Like, why didn't they play this guy more? And also, why did you sign up to come back, bro?
Yeah.
Like, why not find a place that was going to use you a little more?
We talked too about the Ernest for Jerome Baker in a 4th. Kind of indicates that an extension's coming. I kind of like that this is a little prove-it deal for Uche.
It is.
Like, a 6 doesn't mean that
6 is nothing.
Yeah.
6 2 years from now is basically as little compensation as you can give, essentially.
it kind of kills Felix Enrique Uzama.
Yeah.
That has not worked out at all.
Well, and they like to rotate those guys. I think about like Carlos Dunlap coming in near the end of last season and playing out of his mind. Charles Omenihu.
Yeah.
Right, first toward ACL.
Yeah, exactly. Who was the guy
Emmanuel
there?
Ogba?
Mike Dana.
Yes, was insane in the playoffs.
And he's still there.
This is just what they do. This is just them restocking the pantry a little bit.
just in case.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
a long
always
season for them. Always, you know, you got to have depth.
Trade for DeAndre Hopkins. You can never have enough wide receivers. You can never have enough edge rushers.
We'll see Uche get a sack in the Super Bowl
For sure.
Yes, 100%.
There's a good D line now. You got Chris Jones in the middle. You know, Karlaftis is playing pretty good football
Yes,
on
he
the
is.
other side. And now you've got Uche to give him some help. I really like this for Uche.
Well, then FAU can be your third or fourth guy behind
Just
Dana,
rotation.
you know, and Uche. So I like this for Kansas City.
And also, like, just the situation that he's going to be in. Like, he's going to be going to a team that's going to have leads.
Yeah.
So, like, teams will be playing catch up and, you know, passing the ball. So,
Yep.
more opportunities for him.
And you're part of a defending Super Bowl champion, undefeated Kansas City Chiefs team.
I like it for Tranquil and for, you know, Trent McDuffie and everything as well, too, because Spagnuolo actually likes to blitz a lot of, you know, random people at times. Tranquil had a sack, I believe, last week. Trent McDuffie's kind of had a quiet year, so that's another, you know, topic to talk about at some point.
Yeah,
But
Tranquil went insane this past week.
Bolton's been okay. Bolton's been fine. You know, I think he had 10 tackles again,
Yeah,
just
been
kind of what
solid.
he's doing. But no, Tranquil's that big play guy, and this is going to provide one more person that you got to pay attention to as far as the pass rush is
Smart
concerned.
teams
So,
do this. They go
Yeah.
give a 6th-round pick 2 years from now to say, yeah, we'll take a flyer on this Uche guy.
How many sacks does Uche have here rest of the season?
Oh, God, probably like 10 or something. Just insane.
I'll say he gets 5.
Yeah, I think that's a good
Yeah, I
little
think
number.
3 to 4 would be where I would set it.
I'll go 6.
There you go. Let's have it happen here,
7,
Uche.
actually.
Let's have fun.
Let's do 17.
Oh, really?
All right, point number 5. There is yet another Elliss brother. And we also have some linebacker news from the New York Jets as well. So let's start there. Before we get to the 15th or 16th Elliss brother currently in the NFL. For New York, C.J. Mosley underwent an MRI and is visiting with a neck and spine specialist on Monday, suggesting this new injury could be serious and long-term. Jamian Sherwood has been a great replacement in terms of IDP, averaging 12.4 games in the past 5 games that Mosley has either missed or played sparingly in. And then in New England, since Juwan Bentley hit IR, the Pats have been looking for that solid performer in the middle, often supplementing their linebacker presence with Kyle Duggar, Marte Mapu. Well, they may have found their guy in the shape of the third Elliss linebacking brother, Christian, who played most out of himself, Jelani Tavai and Raekwon McMillan. Elliss played 84% of the snaps while bundling his 9 tackles with a sack into a 25-point game. So the war of attrition for linebackers continues to rage on, Addy, and we may get some reinforcements here with Elliss. And we like that maybe the picture's clearing up a little bit in New York as well. Hate to lose C.J. Mosley, but it at least makes the outlook for Sherwood a little clearer too.
Man, I mean, yeah, touch on that real fast. I think Sherwood was going to be that dude. Like, I think it was, you know, a tough situation there for Mosley. I don't think that he was going to be that second linebacker anymore. Sherwood has played that great. And yeah, I'm excited about Sherwood and Dynasty. But yeah, back to this this 7th Elliss brother.
Yes.
This is awesome. I mean, I like the way this guy produces 14.1% tackle rate this season. And then, yeah, 25.1 points this past week, 8.75 the week before that, you know, once he's started seeing the snaps jump. So this is good stuff. I mean, it's worth a shot, you know, at this point. Like, why not? You don't want to miss out on you know, a guy that could potentially be a stud for you.
And for the Pats too, you stink. Yeah, you just beat the Jets, but the Jets stink. So like, just you need to figure out.
Jelani Tavai's boring as hell. He just
Yep.
gets like 5 to 7 tackles a week. Like, this is a guy that I think can provide you some big play upside. Tackle numbers look like they could be pretty solid too. So yeah, and he's playing linebacker. Like, I looked at the usage to make sure, like, because also on Sleeper he gets dual desi.
Does
So
he
that's
really?
Pretty tight.
That's very nice.
So it's actually really, really cool in those leagues that we're in, Bob.
For sure.
I'll
Yep.
be picking up a ton of him. But,
For sure.
Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? I mean, is he playing
I
any
think-
DB snaps?
I think, well, he actually is playing a little bit on the edge.
Yeah.
So they're using him like in creative ways there.
Oh,
so.
is he's DBLB or DLLB?
DLLB.
Okay,
Typical.
gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he has like 16 snaps on the edge this season.
Again, sleeper, buddy, come closer. We're fine with dual desi, but let's figure this out. All right, let's have a little system here.
They gonna give him a little more now with no Uche?
I mean, yeah, potentially. But I think that's he's a fun little versatile piece, you know, on a team that stinks. Going to be out there a lot. Why not?
You know what
Yep.
you got, McMillan.
Yeah.
and Jelani Tavai. Let's see what we got.
McMillan's being benched right now.
Yes,
so.
essentially. So speaking of being benched, Addy, let's go to Minnesota. LB controversy brewing for your Vikings. The age-old adage, no one should lose their job just because they got injured. And yes, Blake Cashman has played well this season, but do we really want to take Ivan Pace Jr. off the field? Yes, he did get flambéed by Kyron on that touchdown, but all he does is produce points when given the chance. He's averaging 22.9 points per game and 9 tackles per game since returning from an injury of his own.
Don't talk yet. Orlovsky did a little Baldinger kind of tweet last week about he had never seen a running back take the route that Kyron did. So he had said a lot of times on those little angle routes, they'll go to the outside. So they'll go all the way around the tight end or the end, whoever's there, and before they cut back in. So Kyron actually slipped inside of the tight end. So I think that's why Pace was made to look so foolish, because Pace was waiting for him to come all the way around the offensive line. But he actually, Kyron slipped through, and Orlovsky was like, dude, I've never seen that route before, which is really interesting.
Sean McVay.
Kyron slippery.
I feel like Cashman's probably seen that route before. I'll say that.
Are you a Cashman guy? You want Cashman to get the job back?
I like them both. I think they're both awesome. I mean, Cashman had the job beforehand, right? I think that it's still going to be Cashman's job whenever he gets healthy.
Can we just have both guys?
We're going to see more pace.
Can we have both guys on the field?
Yeah, I
for
think so.
90+% of snaps. Would that be so much to ask?
I would love to see that. Also, let's go ahead and talk about Dallas Turner.
Yeah.
Flores is being a little cute right now, I think. Let's stop with the Pat Jones stuff.
Yeah.
All right. It was fine early on. Enough.
And what are we doing rotating in Dallas Turner at off-ball linebacker a couple weeks ago? Guys, what are we doing?
It's a little weird. But we talked about this all off season. This was going to be probably how it went. It really is not a need for Minnesota right now. He's not in the same situation as Latu and even Chop and Verse. It's just not the same at all. So Van Ginkel's playing a ton, 90% type usage at this point. Grenard is like 80% as well, and they're both playing lights out. It's just not going to be in the cards for Dallas Turner this year. Especially
see if you can swoop in and get him right now.
Yeah, if someone's being silly and afraid, the dude's 21 and a half. It is gonna take some time.
I told you, if you were expecting something from Dallas Turner this season, that was just foolish.
Yeah,
top 10 pick.
No, he was right after, I think, the Colts took Latu. So the Colts took Latu.
We got to pass rusher in the draft. You're about to get fired, Ballard.
Yeah, he really is. It's been a bad day for Colts fans. Really rough day. We've had to endure Luck retiring. We've had to endure Jeff Saturday in the history of this podcast. Thank God Connie's not here. He was all but distraught today. So, yeah.
Tough, man.
It's a tough scene. Tough scene. Hey, Dio, that play, I don't know if you guys saw the, crazy interception that he had on C.J. Stroud, where basically ripped the ball out of his arms and kind of took it down to the ground. I still don't know if that was down by contact. That's such a cool play. You just hate to see that wiped off the board when he gets up and rumbles like that. But yeah, still an edge rushing rotation there. Hopefully they'll start to give Latu more snaps.
Hey, this is good though. I mean, you guys are going to be competing this year.
Yeah.
You know
that is true.
I mean, it's going to be fun football.
Yeah.
Go get Josh Downs.
Can't wait to finish 8-9 and barely miss the playoffs again.
Good surprise.
For sure.
It's going to be tough.
Offense is going to get a big lift here, dude.
That was such an important game against Houston, just for tie-breaking purposes. We basically have to, short of a Stroud injury, get a wild card now, and that's going to be tough.
They're banged up, too. Just lost Diggs.
Nico Collins.
Collins is coming back, I think, week 10 is what I saw.
Yeah.
On track to return, so they'll be fine. That defense is ferocious. I think Richardson was pressured on 68% of his dropbacks or something. Absolutely, even if we had put Flacco in that game, we're still losing. There's just no way that game was going to go in our favor.
Why is A.D. Mitchell not getting the ball?
Well, whenever he goes to catch it, either drops it or steps out of bounds,
gotcha.
like he did yesterday. So it's a tough time. We'll see.
And Richardson's just not going to be the type of quarterback to distribute the ball the way you want for fantasy, you know?
No, he's not. He loves Josh Downs. I mean, Josh Downs was getting
target monster.
Target monster. Or he's just throw it up to
Flacco loves him too, though.
Alec
right?
Pierce. Yeah,
sure.
He loves just being you know what? Let me throw it 70 yards to Alec Pierce and let him out jump the guy.
Yeah. So bust, right?
No, I mean, we'll see. I'm curious. I'm curious what the Colts are going to do here. I mean, the dude's had 10 starts. He's 23 years old. Like, we should have learned from Darnold and Baker, just be patient. Just be patient. I think the final thing I'll say about this, I think this is Steichen is on the hot seat, and he knows to keep his job, he's got to push for the playoffs. And to do that, you do go to Flacco.
Yeah.
So I think this is, if we miss the playoffs with Flacco and we don't see a lot of Richardson, could be another house cleaning, new GM, new head coach.
You getting the Flacco jersey?
No, I'm out of the quarter. I had the Luck jersey. My parents got me the AR jersey for Father's Day, which was very sweet, but it's just cursed at this point, guys. I don't know what to tell you. We should have just re-signed Phillip Rivers.
Should we burn the jerseys? You
Probably.
think that would maybe reverse
That would probably release the spirits.
How do you feel about Latu, though?
Wish I was seeing a little more. He's not been great in run defense. I mean, you see Verse just out of this world production. And so you're like, you had your pick of the litter, and you picked the wrong guy. So, at least from what we've seen so far, I think Latu's going to be special. We know Verse is special.
When you pair that with the injury risk, right?
Yeah.
It just seems like that Verse doesn't have.
And I don't know how Latu is not cracking the top of this rotation yet. It just feels like you've got Dio Dangbo and Kwity Paye, ahead of you.
Yeah,
like
it became hurt.
Yeah, like I thought it was going to be a lot more than what we've seen so far. It's been disappointing to start. Still optimistic. But
hold, folks. Yes. I think good days are coming.
It takes a long time for these edge rushers to hit their stride, right?
Big transition.
Year 2, year 3, I think we're going to see, top 5 or 6 potential for someone like Latu.
I still feel good about him. I still feel good about all 3 of them.
You buying Richardson right now?
I mean, probably, because what's it going to cost you? I mean, I'm certainly.
I don't know. I think some people are still going to be real hyped up about him.
Well, it's a cost thing, He was the first quarterback off that board because of the rushing upside and everything.
Yeah, I think I took him at 106 2 years ago.
It's like the Trey Lance stuff. It's like,
exactly.
That hung around for a long time.
And honestly, in Dynasty, that's becoming a scarier thing, taking a quarterback high. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jaden Daniels is working out, and Caleb kind of is now, so it's kind of a weird year to say that.
You could also have just gotten a Darnold or a Baker or somebody,
Bryce
some
Young.
retread. Yeah.
But, I mean, there's been a lot of quarterbacks over the last couple of years that have not worked out. Like, now you're kind of weird with Trevor. Justin Fields that you took probably really high a couple years ago.
Well, no, I'm saying if you could have just circled back to Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and just stream the quarterback position, right?
That's the move, right?
It's just like
for sure.
Investing in these. The problem, I saw it said very well today, the NFL is no longer in a place where it has time to develop talent. There's too much pressure on these coaches to win and win quickly. That there's just, I mean, we've seen it, right?
Yeah.
Once quarterbacks actually have a little bit of time to sit and develop and learn and get those reps in and let the mental side catch up to the physical gifts, these guys are actually pretty solid.
Who's the Dynasty QB1 right now?
Gosh, I mean, Josh Allen, I would think. But Mahomes is like so frustrating. I'm in a redraft league where it's super flex.
Yeah.
I'm never going high quarterback again.
Yeah.
Right? I've got Sam Darnold and Jameson Winston.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Loving life right now. And I got Mahomes too, who's on the bench. That was he was my first pick.
Yeah. It's a tough look.
Maybe
Quarterback's
Jalen
in a weird
Hurts.
spot right now.
Jalen Hurts has been rushing.
He is
Lamar?
so, as a Saquon
For sure.
owner
Super
this year
frustrating.
and a DeAndre Swift owner last year. He can go to hell. He can go to hell.
You just went double owners there, so you're double canceled.
That's
You have
right.
to sit out the rest of the-
Manager. I managed both of them. I
Too
never
late.
owned them.
Said it twice. All right, let's go to point number 7 here and talk some safeties. Budda Baker is back, baby. Someone was going to have to step up in this Cardinals defense and make plays, and that someone is Budda Baker. The former Dynasty darling has seen his star diminished after a couple of subpar seasons. He's back in early 2020 form, though. His tackle numbers are up, and he's just 6 points shy of his 2023 point total already through 8 weeks. Budda is currently safety 6 on the season and is the only one of the top 30 safeties without an interception, sack, forced fumble, or fumble recovery. He is just a tackling machine. Addy, you have something for us there? You were kind of perking up.
Yes, it reminded me. So I beat your brother's little butt this weekend in our fantasy league.
Thank you very much.
He sent out a message, though, It was here we go. Subbed out Baker last minute because everyone said Love was a must start. Baker broke my heart on the bench. And to someone that plays IDP, that was a very confusing message.
For sure.
It's very true.
It was very confusing.
That is I was like, wait, who's? Oh, Julian Love. Yes,
right. And
gosh.
also it worked perfectly because Julian Love had a stinker of a game. Budda Baker balled out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was like,
What league is this? Because it's just a sleeper like pop up.
Right.
And
It was
you're
just,
like,
I get so many of these notifications. That one came across at the right time.
you were like,
hilarious.
who?
I was like, wait a second. Connor's not in an IDP league.
What are we talking about here? Yeah, very confusing.
Connor's in these IDP leagues
Yeah.
we don't know about.
Anyway, you guys should play IDP if you don't. No
Yes.
more ball.
Yeah,
You know?
and then
have
you
more
can
things like that happen to you.
You can have Baker and Love on both sides of the ball
Yeah.
that you love. This is great, Bobo. Love seeing Budda Baker back safety 6 on the season. We love Budda Baker. We've loved him since the beginning of this podcast. And it's just safety is volatile year to year.
Yeah.
These guys rise and fall. It's just good that this is a year where Baker's rising back up.
It kind of makes sense, right? You know, those linebackers there haven't been great this year. I mean, Mac Wilson's had a couple weeks. Kaiser White and Owen Papo haven't really done much, you know, to at least be worthy of, you know, talking about on this podcast. So, I don't know. I'm all for Budda. And you never know what the Cards could do with Budda. I mean, they're pretty good this year, but I don't know what Budda's cap number looks like on his, you know, his little contract, but maybe they could trade Budda at some point. I mean, you don't want that to happen, but it would be fun to see Budda in a contending spot late in the playoffs. You just never seen playoff Budda. I think that would be pretty fun Budda to watch.
I think it'd be tough because he's by far the best player on that defense right now.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, who's even in the same stratosphere as him?
There's no one.
Yeah.
He's the
That's it.
face of it for sure. But, you know, he's piling up them tackles.
Yep.
He is going to look pretty appealing to some GM out there. So,
He is
Yankees
a UFA in 2025.
yeah, he'll get a big bag.
I think you will. I think contract year glow up.
Yeah.
You know, another example right here.
But he'll be a great, fit for somebody next
Yeah.
year.
I think
A
he's gonna
contender's gonna
he's
scoop
gonna
him
weather
up.
pretty well too.
Oh,
I
hell
think
yeah.
he'll age very
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Harrison Smith. He's one of those types. Like he's going to be around for a bit. It's like in the same
Honey
category. Yeah, as Derwin, I think. Go get Budda now because he's going to be someone that you're going to
Read my damn mind.
just love having.
Read my mind, Daddy.
Baker and Love, baby. Which side are we talking about? That remains to be seen. But let's move to Edgerrin Cooper. Cooper is starting to gain the edge in Green Bay. We mentioned it earlier. He has been hit or miss so far this season due to a slow start snaps-wise.
Yeah.
Woo! Say that 5 times fast.
Yep.
But over the past 4 games, Cooper has played at least 30 snaps a game, averaging 16.14 points per game, while putting up no less than 9 points in any of those performances. He's also stuffing the stat sheet to do it with 2 sacks, a forced fumble, 4 TFLs, 1 pass defended, 3 QB hits to go with 23 tackles, a 16.1% tackle rate in that 4-game span. Addy, Edgerrin Cooper is coming on strong. I think this is the Green Bay linebacker you want.
Yeah. Your boy did some numby crunching over the last few days.
Crunch those numbies, baby.
So we got a little bit of some data
Some
for
data.
2025.
Some data.
Yeah, and points per snap. We have that in the sheets right now. Edgerrin Cooper is number 1 in points per snap.
Wow.
0.47 points per snap.
Wow.
Right underneath him is Eric Wilson. So Green Bay linebackers.
Green Bay, what's going on there,
is
guys?
the spot to be. But then like Aiden Hutchinson is 3rd. Azeez Ojulari is 4th.
Your boy, 17 tackles or sacks or whatever you said.
Yeah.
Dennis Gardeck's underneath him.
Rip.
Yep. Kyle Van Noy, AVG, Dante Fowler. Those are your points per snap leaders. But
Points
yeah.
per snap king. Hey, Zach Sealer, broken orbital bone. Get like Kyle Van Noy, please.
Yeah, no big
Play the
deal.
next game.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Quit being a baby.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Daddy. Sorry.
Who are we talking about here? Oh,
Edgerrin
Edgerrin
Cooper.
Cooper. Yes. Edge, you're in. That's one of the
that you guys were
best moments.
Yeah, puntacular in that episode.
The light switch went on for Edgerrin that week. I think he was listening. I can't help but venture over to the IDPshow.com and kind of do a little
What a
gandering.
great website.
Gandering around a little bit at the dynasty ranks. Edgerrin Cooper now the LB9 for Mr. Adam.
Who's around him? Who's 7, 8, and then like 10 and 11?
Let me tell you who's not around him.
Okay.
Quay Walker.
Okay.
Now the LB29.
Crybaby Quay? Stinky.
Boy, that's a drop. That's a drop. That's a fall from grace right there for Quay.
Don't tell the YouTubers; they're gonna be upset.
Quay just
He's fine.
he was set up for it though. I mean, bad play, and now Edgerrin Cooper just knocked that boy out of the top 10.
Bad attitude.
Sure.
Yeah, who was it that was banged up? Because
heart.
Eric Wilson was in for Quay Walker, right?
Yes. And balled.
And
the
did
hell out.
really well. Yeah.
Eric Wilson, he's had some moments. He was,
I know.
He was a beast for like one of those years in Minnesota.
I was going to say, Minnesota is where he rings a bell for me. But
The old McDuffie days are over.
They're still running him out there.
Yeah.
And he's still getting some tackles. But yeah, that's
still just, we're trotting Grandpa out.
But yeah, I think his time is coming to an end very
Is he
soon.
the biggest riser for you linebacker-wise this season?
Edgerrin Cooper for sure.
I think so, right?
Yes.
All right.
Points per snap leader. Come on, people.
So I want to ask you this one first, Josh, because I want your take. In Dynasty, do you want Edgerrin Cooper or Ernest Jones?
Ooh, that is a great question. I want to see what happens with Ernest's contract in Seattle, because if he's on his fourth team in like 12 months, that's not great. But if he gets the new deal, Ernest.
Okay.
But as things stand right now, Edgerrin Cooper.
Okay. Addy?
That's a good one, though.
Ernest.
Okay.
I have Ernest at 11.
Yeah. Stop looking.
Stop cheating on your own ranks.
Aziz Al-Shaair or Edgerrin Cooper?
Edgerrin Cooper.
Wow.
I just think this is potentially the next top five kind. I mean, you just said the 2 points per snap leaders were Green Bay.
So Adam
Like,
has
that's beautiful.
Addy
Great
has
spot.
Aziz is LB6, and then he's got Edgerrin Cooper as the LB9.
Yeah.
So
Look, Aziz has been
Close.
great.
I'm trying not to get too crazy about
For
the
sure.
edge
For
stuff.
sure.
You know,
Yeah.
we have seen this before.
Yeah.
You know, some of these guys pop on
Bright games.
limited basis.
Yeah.
You know, but it's
can,
encouraging.
If he can unseat Quay Walker,
Yeah.
that's big.
And I think that is coming at no matter
sure.
what.
Yeah.
Right. He's gonna be.
Will he be unseated at some point? I think that's the question.
Yeah. Yeah, potentially. Right. You
Right?
got-
Is it just Quay Walker all over again once Edgerrin Cooper
it
takes
could
over?
just be a bunch of bad linebacker play. Right.
Yeah.
Just they're trying to figure it out.
the coaching just brings the worst out in everybody.
Like a Jacksonville Jaguar situation, you know.
Yeah.
We don't know who any of these guys are, if they're any good at all. Just play them all.
I'm a little worried about Aziz, though. Speaking of Aziz Al-Shaair, we still don't know anything about his knee injury.
Yeah, it's not great.
Have we seen any details?
And then like they bring in Devin White.
Yes,
That's
and Devin
not
White
great.
played a ton because I was watching that game against the Colts, and Devin White was out there way too much.
Yeah. Christian Harris
He'll be
is-
back soon, I think.
So that'll be big. He,
Yeah.
he could be a monster.
That could be league winner type
Really could
of.
be.
If he's out there on your waiver wire, it's coming. Like
Gotta
just,
get him.
Yeah, just get out there, blow the fab, get this guy, because especially if Al-Shaair is out for an extended period of time, which the fact they haven't released information on this injury yet has me very, very concerned.
That's a McVay thing. Somebody was saying there was a tweet a couple weeks ago where he was like, "This is just so savvy of McVay to all of a sudden spring it on the Seattle Seahawks that they're going to get Cooper Kupp back all of a sudden this week to just actually be hiding the fact that Puka was also going to play.
Yes.
On
He was the
Thursday.
smokescreen.
Yeah,
The Cooper Cup
Yeah.
smoke screen.
Cooper had to die so that Puka could live.
That's
So,
right.
Are you back in on the season?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Your boys look good, man.
It's hard not to watch Puka and even Cooper Cup. He was a little bit of a down week, but
Dude,
keep holding on to Cooper Cup.
Go listen to one of the most recent episodes of Football 301 with our boy Nate Tice.
Okay.
He talked about how this Rams team, I think it's when they have Stafford, Kyron, Cup, and
Puka.
Nakua on the field at the same time as the fourth most efficient offense in the past 20 years.
Wow.
I'm talking about like Indianapolis Colts with Peyton Manning, 07 Patriots with Tom Brady, and then Patrick Mahomes' first starting season in 2018.
Good gosh.
That is so the potential.
some
Now,
numbers.
obviously, those guys have been banged up and in and out of the lineup at various points.
So that was
but
with like Marvin and Reggie Wayne.
yes, 2004 Indianapolis Colts were the most efficient. Then the Patriots of 07, then the 2018 Chiefs, and then the 2023 or 2024 Rams with those four guys on the field.
Pats of 07 had to have been like Randy Moss.
That was the Randy Moss.
Welker.
Yep, that was the 17-1
Gronk.
season.
Yeah.
Hernandez.
Yeah.
Were they there yet?
I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, your boys,
crazy.
if y'all can stay healthy,
Yeah, that's a big if.
I like y'all to make a run in the
We're blessed
NFC.
with the football we've gotten to watch.
Dude,
Man. The offenses
absolutely.
we've seen.
Yep.
You know,
Truly.
Pretty cool.
Isn't it crazy that Peyton Manning used to throw like 50 touchdowns in a season?
Yeah.
And now you think like, oh, passing is up. It's a passing league.
Yeah.
And quarterbacks are capping out at like 38 touchdowns.
Yep.
What's the
Drew
key?
Brees did it.
Yeah. He had
Tom Brady did it.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember
Tom
who
was
has,
the first to do it, wasn't he? Or
I think Brady might have broken Peyton, or Peyton might have broken Brady's, and then I think Breeze has the record,
Yeah.
doesn't he, for
Yeah.
most touchdown passes in a season?
I think so. I think it's like,
or maybe it's all time.
I don't
Yeah.
know what it is, something like that.
was that the Michael Thomas like healthy years?
Man, those Saints teams were awesome.
Dude,
Electric,
Kamara
dude.
in like 17, 16.
Like the Devery Henderson days.
Oh
remember
my
those?
gosh.
The Marcus Colston
Yes.
days.
It was actually Peyton Manning had 55 with the Broncos.
Oh wow!
Right?
that's
He
right.
came
Darius
back and beat it.
Thomas,
Only two other
Sanders,
players have
Decker.
recorded 50 or more passing touchdowns, Brady
was
and
the,
Patrick Mahomes. Breeze has the all-time touchdown record. That's what that big kind of hubbub was about
He
on
had
like Monday Night
Welker, too.
Football.
He had 4
Yes.
crazy.
Demarius Thomas, Wes Welker,
And he had the tight end that was really good too.
Julius Thomas.
Yeah.
Yes, that's who it was.
Yep.
Dude, what a
That
core.
was a sick team.
And he
Those
also
teams
had
were sick.
peak Von Miller.
Who was the running back on that team?
Oh boy. Was it like Ronnie
Oh.
Hillman or something?
It was somebody terrible.
Yeah.
No, I think it was somebody pretty decent. I think it was an Ohio State guy. What you were saying, though, the key cog to all of this is just the quarterback. You know, I'm worried when Stafford leaves, like, Puka's going to be like, I don't know about this.
I saw someone saying that the F Them Picks coffee mug was going to be talking to Les Snead like the Green Goblin mask to pick up the phone and call the Colts about.
Speaking of math,
It was no Sean Moreno on that
Yeah.
2013.
Oh, yeah.
Decker, Eric Decker, that's who it was. Decker, Demarius Thomas, Wes Welker, Julius Thomas.
where'd Marino play ball?
He was Georgia. So
Close.
let's go on to the next point, though.
Hold on,
Eddie
don't go
grabs
yet.
another beer.
Did you see the Dwayne Wade?
Oh my God!
Oh, yeah.
You don't understand how much I've been loving the memes
Yes.
coming out about the statue of D Wade.
Did you see the Brett Coleman one sideways like Aaron Rodgers where he had his chin strap up around his nose?
That one was great. Morpheus in the Matrix when he's being tortured by the agents. I saw a Zordon one from Power Rangers that was phenomenal. Just some, Twitter is an absolute hellhole overrun with porn bots, but man, you get some true gems every once in a while.
Still is the funniest platform.
It is. I mean,
Most aware platform too.
yes.
Everyone's depressed. Everyone's miserable.
Yes, all the things that become funny, like a month later on Facebook and other platforms,
Started on Twitter.
started on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's where it all begins.
I just love how Dwayne Wade was like kind of polite, but also throwing a little shade of like, who is that
You
guy?
hope he got to see that statue beforehand, because otherwise that's a really tough, like,
Who put that up there?
you
Who?
open the Christmas present and it's like the ugliest socks you've ever seen.
Just like, somebody's got to be in trouble for that, right? Like somebody saw that before Dwayne Wade and was like, all right, we're good to go, you know?
Yeah.
Who gave the
We're
green
still
light?
good to go through with this event.
Yeah, let's just postpone this maybe 6 months and get a better statue out
Yeah.
here.
It's got to be real expensive. What was that, bronze?
I don't know, man. It was like silver gray, so I don't think it was bronze.
Jeez.
Rough look. Rough look for D Wade. Rough look for Joey Bosa. Old Brittle Bones Bosa, as we like to call him. Diamonds, the hardest known naturally occurring product on Earth. Joey Bosa's muscles might be the closest thing we have to the exact opposite of that. Bosa logged his first ever game with 0 quarterback pressures and at least 10 pass rushing snaps, and was seen in the third quarter kneeling on the sideline receiving treatment from the Chargers training staff.
Hanging out with Anthony Richardson.
Yes, Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh said he couldn't say for sure if Bosa re-aggravated his hip injury, but at this point, no one's IDP team is relying on Bosa, as has been the case for the majority of the season, with Bosa's sideline sophomore edge rusher Tuli Tuipulotu got the lion's share of snaps on the other side next to Khalil Mack. Both Tuipulotu and Mack collected a sack apiece in the game for the first time this year, giving Tuli his first for the year and Mack 3.5 on the season. I mean, what else is there to say about Joey Bosa that hasn't been said already?
Yep. Yeah.
Great when he's on the field, but that's becoming harder and harder to come by.
Yeah, he's just you can't count on the dude. Also, Bud Dupree, he's getting some run there in LA. If you're in a deep league, you can do worse than old Bud.
Also, be in a deep league.
Yeah, definitely being a deep league.
They're fun.
It's fun to play these guys like Bud Dupree and stuff. You know, I do that frequently in some of these 14, 16 team leagues I'm in. So.
What are we doing with Bosa, though?
Oh, he's just rotting on your team. I mean,
You can't cut him.
yeah.
You can't trade him.
He's going to have to go somewhere else. Like, he just needs a fresh start, and maybe he can get healthy a couple years. But you're
with robot legs, like what?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like.
I think the situation is fine.
Yeah,
it's just
might be
like
a possibility now. This
is a
technology.
Jamal Adams, Shaq Leonard, injury prone. I believe is real because of players like Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
We've just seen it time and time and time again.
Get him some of them Tesla legs.
He is.
The robot.
Is
the
he
Tesla
30
robot.
yet? You boys gonna get one of them Tesla robots?
I wanted to watch
Watch
me
you
while.
sleep.
Yes, I
One.
wanted
He's
to
in the
watch me
car.
while we sleep. Yeah.
Herbert. He drove me here
Have you
tonight.
seen the tweet comparing all the designs of the Tesla stuff to iRobot, the Will Smith movie from like the
Oh.
early 2000s?
Is it similar?
It is like the exact same.
Really?
Yes.
That
To the
freaks
point
me
where the
out.
designer was like, "Can I have my designs back, Elon?"
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
copy and paste.
Wow.
Very funny. What do you got, Addy?
He is 29.3 years of age, Joey
Yep.
Bosa.
Getting old as hell.
So, I mean,
The injuries aren't going to get better
yeah,
as you get closer to 30.
he's gonna go somewhere like Kansas City though. Play,
We're going to
sign,
be back in
sign up for like 40 to 50% of snaps and do really well with them. I bet.
until those hammies disintegrate once again.
I want to
Sure.
dig back in a little bit on the opposite side. Let's stay in LA for just a second. Let's look at Thule. Has been kind of quiet so far this year. 11 total pressures. This was actually his first sack on the season. His first, he has one QB hit on the year. He's played a healthy amount of snaps. 27 snaps in week 1, 31, 48, got up to 50. He's hovering around that 45, 50 mark over the last couple weeks. But the PFF numbers are okay. Like this week, his pass rush grade was 70, tackling grade is 73, overall defensive grade of 86. So Thule was a guy that I kind of saw real similar to Nick Hembig in the offseason, to where they were both going to be, needed if an injury happened. We didn't think there was going to be this crazy snap share apart from injury. But Thule needs to play a little better. We need to see a little bit more pressures. We need to see, the tackle numbers kind of tick up a little bit. He only has 9 tackles on the year. But I don't know. Just kind of put a pin in it.
Could be coming
For sure.
Have we got any update on Bosa? Is he going to be out this next week?
We don't know. That's what Harbaugh couldn't say if he's re-aggravated the hip injury, but
Hour-to-hour situation with that guy.
truly, just assume that he's going to be out, I think is the best way to look at it.
I
So,
agree. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, you're not counting on him. So if you want to count on Thule, good on you, but it's been a tough.
Yeah, right.
He
Again,
should have been
deeper
better.
leagues.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be rostered.
He
but
needs to
don't
be
start him.
rostered in deeper leagues.
But,
sure.
but I agree. I thought that like he'd get a better snap share with Bosa not really being there,
Yeah.
being banged up,
Yeah. Just hadn't
and
happened.
not playing. Right? I mean, he still hasn't really.
But you got to think,
Khalil
too,
Mack's getting a healthy.
this is a prior regime type guy. So, I mean, like,
Yeah.
that's something that, same with your boy Dayon Henley.
Everything is so frustrating with the Chargers IDPs right now because
Yeah.
Bosa's, hamstrung. Derwin has been up and down. I mean, the linebacker core is a mess. And then as far as just the rotation goes, and then you have Khalil Mack coming back to earth. Thule is disappointed.
I think Mack's been pretty good this year. I
3.5 sacks. Yeah, he's been fine.
Pressure rate's been great. Though,
Yeah,
when
back
the
from
PFF stuff's
earth,
been great.
considering last year. But, I mean, like,
That was always going to happen.
3.5 sacks through 8 weeks is, hey, you could do way worse than that.
If the Chargers are in it, yeah, I think pushing for a wild card spot potentially. I like Mack to turn it on. End of the season, I like those elite edge rushers, having them on my team because, like we said, end of the game is when TJ Watt typically does this sort of thing. I think end of the season, when you're getting close to the playoffs, you're going to see these big pass rushers step up. So let's go to Carolina, though. The crown jewel in Carolina. Is it Josey Jewell? Seems like it. Back from injury, straight back to 100% snap share. He also collected 10 tackles, had a 13.5-point game by Big Three scoring. Trevin Wallace still heavily utilized, playing 90% of the snaps rather than 100, which is what we saw in Jewell's absence. Do we think that Jewell returning caps Wallace's ceiling if he's going to be getting 100% of the snaps?
We don't really know what Wallace's ceiling was. I mean, we just saw like a couple games with him, and he played well those first 2 games.
What do you have, 15 tackles the first
Yeah,
game, right?
Yeah, but then it was back into more like a 7 to 8 range after that. So I mean, we don't know enough about Trevor Wallace to say much like that. I don't think, but Will's up for Jewell, baby.
Glad to have Jewell back.
I think Jewell's underrated, dude. I think he's one of these types. I was thinking about in RSO extending him. He's someone that I'd like to have around for 2 years, I think. He's just going to be a solid linebacker, no worse than like a linebacker 3 for you.
What was his extension number? Probably pretty low, right? Because he's been out a lot.
It was
this
like
season.
2 years. Like it was actually kind of high, like 2 years, 20 million total.
What do y'all think about
10 per.
EJ Speed? 3 years, 8.5 per.
That's
So like
treading the line, isn't it?
So like 3 years, 25, 26.
Something like that. Yep. The only thing that worried me was
That
3
third
years.
year,
Yeah.
the third year.
Yeah. It's tough. These are the kind of conversations you have to have with these kind of contract leagues because you're paying the most to the guy in year 3. So if EJ Speed's washed out of the league after 2 years, you're just sitting with that dead cap.
But it does seem like there's been a shift with the linebackers in this league lately, where it's like everyone's kind of like, I don't want to be without
Yeah.
a stud.
Yeah.
And like these guys are going for more now in the auction.
auction
like
was very high.
Last auction, and also people have more. People have money in these
Yeah.
things. Just the way these teams get built. Like there's going to be a handful of teams with like loads of cap, and so that's going to just drive the market up on these guys. So
It always just worries me extending guys that you have question marks about.
The thing
Yeah.
for me,
Because I've been burned by that a lot.
the thing for me with extensions is not so much the money, it's the years. So like if 2 years for Jewell, it's like, man, 2 years, that's not
Right.
That's 24 months, you know?
and that's not cheap though.
Yeah.
either, too. I mean the 9 per year. or
That
whatever.
third year, you're paying EJ Speed 10, 11.
Yep.
right?
So I was debating that because it has gone down. He's not been as hot as he was to start the season. I think he was at 12 million per year for 3 years, 36, something like that.
I just don't know.
So it's come down. I'm just like, I don't know that I want to pull the trigger on that.
I don't know that it's going to drop any more than that, though. That's
Yeah.
the only negative to
It
it.
feels about what it's going to stay at.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with Trevin Wallace. I think we still love Wallace in Dynasty.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen enough from him this year to be excited.
Not to wish bad on your boy Jewell, but with them going back to Bryce Young, that defense is about to be just living on the field.
Trading Deontay Johnson
So
for a late round pick swap, I think.
I haven't read through this. All I see is waiver wire Wallace. So I would just warn you, don't drop Trevin Wallace.
Oh,
I
no.
think that's
No,
a
no.
If
consideration.
he's getting 90% of snaps,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
still
yeah.
beautiful. That's still plenty of opportunity.
Yeah, I hope that wasn't like just a shade sesh for me. But I'm still like, I think Wallace could be good. I'm just saying I don't know like what type of producer he is yet, just because we haven't seen enough.
And we haven't seen these two guys together.
Right.
Right? Because Shaq Thompson, it was Thompson and Josey Jewell. Then Jewell went out after Thompson went out. Then Wallace came in. So we really haven't seen these two guys together outside of one game.
That's one of the worst teams we've seen in a while.
They're bad.
Yeah,
They're
so
very,
bad.
very
Bad
bad.
team.
So
Where's Adam Thielen going?
back to Minnesota.
That'd be cool.
That'd be fun, right? Does he still have any juice left, though?
I think so. Before he
maybe
blew that hammy real bad.
like Houston.
What
You
if
know?
Yeah, for real.
if they trade away Thielen, does Xavier Leggett just get 100% of snaps and like a 30%
So Deontay
target?
Johnson's gone.
Yeah.
yeah, should be wheels up.
Traded to Baltimore.
Bryce Young didn't throw the ball two-legged a lot. I mean, Leggett's touchdowns came
I thought
with
you
Andy
said
Dalton.
two-legged, like with two legs.
Nah. Have you seen
Is he
his
just on one leg the entire time?
Have you seen his touchdown celebration?
No.
He gets on the
horse.
horse, rides
Oh,
around.
yes. I thought you were talking about Bryce Young. I was like, no, because Bryce Young has
yeah.
never scored a touchdown.
Good point,
so
Josh. Good point.
I haven't seen that yet. So, guy that has been very good, though, for fantasy on the defensive side. Here comes the boom. From Baltimore, I saw the Rizzler and all his crazy crew was on Fallon last
How
night.
about that? They're blowing up.
It was
Love
a
to see
fun
it.
like Animorphs thing of like the little one, the medium one, and the big one, and it was like the evolutionary kind of the Pokemon kind of metamorphosis here from the little one to the big one.
Special group.
Special group.
Big fan of all those guys.
Yeah, you would.
Especially the Rizzler.
the Rizzler.
He's going to be a big deal one day.
How old is the Rizzler?
Not sure.
Is he like?
He's between 6 and 21, I think.
I was gonna say, what is he a child? Because I'm trying to figure out, is he small because he is a child, or is he just a small person?
Not sure. Not sure, but big fan.
Big
I have
fan.
no clue who y'all are talking about right now.
You wouldn't, Bobo. You don't spend enough time on
That's right.
Twitter, which
Yeah.
is a good
Your
thing.
brain's not.
I know who
Your
Jimmy
brain's
Fallon
not
is.
fully rotted yet. So, yes, back to Kyle Hamilton. This is the boom game we knew was coming. He finished just shy of a 40-burger thanks to 10 tackles, 1 TFL, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 2 passes defended, 2 QB hits, and it would have been an even bigger day if he had caught the game-sealing interception the play before Jameis Winston hit Cedric Tillman for a deep touchdown.
Cedric Tillman,
We'll
baby.
see, Till.
Woo!
Run me about every damn league this week.
Yeah.
Did he have a big...
Oh,
Open everywhere.
I mean, 2 tutties and
I forgot. Yeah,
99
Amari
yards.
Cooper got. Is
Yeah.
he like wide receiver 1 there in Cleveland now?
That has been on the Twitter streets the last couple of days. Josh must not have the Browns algorithm into
All
his
I'm getting is
system.
Rizzler and
Talk to a girl.
The D Wade statue memes. I don't even see football stuff anymore. It's just the D Wade and the Zordon for me. That's it.
No, Tillman had an awesome game, just wide open everywhere, it seemed like. And Twitter was basically like, why have the Browns been keeping this from us for the past, 5 years?
Why have they been keeping Jameis on the shelf?
Jeez.
Well, we know the answer to
Watson
that.
must have just been awful.
Oh, my God.
Oh, he was the worst quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, by almost every statistic.
It's very much the Tiger Woods thing. It's like once he was found out, I think he lost
Everything's
all
different.
confidence.
Yep.
The magic,
everyone,
the mojo was gone.
Yep.
He didn't lose the bank account because I'm still sure
Right.
that he's got $96 million due.
Just such proof that it's so much of sports is mental.
Yeah.
You know?
It's hard to throw with the weight of guilt and shame
Dude.
riding on your shoulders
Yep.
every single
Yep.
snap.
Yep.
So-
and just constantly wondering what everyone is thinking of you. You know.
Maybe that's what
Knowing people hate your guts because they're booing you when you go off on the cart.
Man, it's tough.
That's where A-Rich learned that you could tap out from Watson a couple weeks ago on that
Shoo.
fourth down. Watch was
Just
like,
lie about that. The sleeper, I don't know if every.
yeah,
did y'all-
that's what I thought. Go grab your arm or do something. I got
Did
hit
you
in the
all
nuts or something.
get the sleeper notification that said Richardson is out because of a lower leg injury?
You should know better than me getting sleeper notifications.
Did you
think
get this one?
Yeah, I think I remember seeing it.
Yes, because I
But
was,
they're wrong all the time. They get different sources. and stuff.
I know they always try to be first, but then I watched the replay.
To everyone, right?
And the big defender fell onto his leg and I thought maybe that's like a twisted ankle or something. But yeah, let's not go back to that. Let's go back to Kyle Hamilton.
Were you pissed when you found out that he was taking a breather?
Yeah, that's I get it. He did shrug off like
He's
a
got the
315
mask on. I know.
pound man.
That's the Madden generation for you, though. They're used to seeing that stamina meter go low, and they get
tap out.
it auto subs them.
Yeah, the former players were fired up. Let me tell you about the
Yeah, I'm
sub
sure.
out.
In my day, we would never.
We're offensive linemen. We don't get to sub out. It's like, all right, bud, chill out. You
I
didn't have
fired
to just
up,
run like a half a mile like A-Rich did.
I fired up Madden 06 the other day at Mama's
Look at
house.
you. Did it blow the
go.
dust out the
Doesn't
back
even
of
have
the
hit
PS2?
stick.
Who's on the cover of that one?
I think we've had this exact
I think
conversation
Eagles
before.
quarterback McNabb.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we also have 03 with Marshall Faulk on it. It's,
07
It's
is-
very pixelated.
05 is
Is that Vic?
Maybe
Vic's
Vic.
05, right?
07 is Ray Lewis, maybe.
Yes, I think you're right.
I wanted to see where Hamilton
Yeah,
was.
we're gamers.
Yeah, we game. Notice
Josh
these
trying to
games
bring
are
us back to
20
reality
years
over
old.
here.
Alante Taylor still DB1. Brian
Yeah,
Branch
boy.
DB2.
Yeah,
My
Brian
God.
Branch is
Brian
Branch is now safety one in the
I was gonna
ranks.
say
baby.
that is a no-brainer, right?
I mean, Caham and Winfield.
He's just that's true. Not a no-brainer because Kyle Hamilton has been great. Winfield's obviously great, but Branch, man,
Yeah, he's on
just
another level.
he's having that Winfield type of season right now.
And
where
he's
just-
23.
yeah, that's the thing.
Cooper
But
DeJean is on his way.
Yeah, baby.
but Hamilton's
awesome,
only
yeah.
16 points behind Branch right now by Big Three scoring, and Paulson Adebo was sitting there at number 3, broken femur. My God, just an
There's
insane
a pretty
injury.
high chance of dying from that.
Yes, dude. It's
From
the
broken femur.
Yes.
the biggest because of I'm sure it can shred stuff in some vulnerable arteries
Yeah.
and whatnot. Yeah, I mean that's and typically it happens in car crashes.
Yes.
Falling from a great height. So
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other contributing factors that can make you die. But I mean, thoughts and prayers out to Paulson and Debo. That is just a gnarly injury.
That could be like a football's done type thing.
Could be. Could be. Xavier McKinney, DB4, Jalen Jones, DB5, Kyle Hamilton, DB6. So,
Some of those are fool's gold.
yeah, Kyle Hamilton, boys, I think we're headed for another top 3 finish from K-Ham safety-wise on the season.
He just reminded you why he's so special, just because he has those type of games.
And
And,
there's not a lot of DBs that do.
and he'll probably have another one this season. He usually does that once or twice a season.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Yeah, oh yeah, you'll see the big boom games, and that's why you put up with the, kind of down games, which every DB.
Yeah.
And looking back at the
Every
log,
DB.
we're talking about how down he was. He's been fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole position, I would sign up for that all day.
Yes, that's kind of like DL. And then speaking of, we're going to kind of end on this because a lot of folks were complaining about the edge rushers in Houston, but things are heating up after slow starts. Both Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson are starting to find their strides. Will Anderson currently the DL2 and has passed his career high in sacks of 7. as he's up to 7.5 already, obviously buoyed by the 3-sack, 48-point performance in Week 6. Danielle Hunter has at least 1 sack in each of his past 3 games and added another 2 to his total to take him up to 5.5 on the season. He is DL 17 at 13.19 points per game.
No one in IDP has been higher on Will Anderson than your boy. That's
It's
a
true.
fact.
That is a fact.
Number 1 right now in the ranks.
You moved him up there right after Aiden went down.
Exactly. But anyway, he has not been outside the top 10 since he was drafted. And he's basically been inside the top 5, I think, for the past 6 months. So, yeah, he's going to be a stud for the next decade. Probably can't go out and get him now.
Too late.
Too much.
Too late.
But if you got him, congrats.
Congrats. And, Bobo, this is why we preach patience with DL, because I was on Macri's pod earlier this year. I think it was the Week 4 preview, and it was like, guys, just be patient. If you watch these games, which I had done, I had watched Houston in Week 1, and Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson were terrorizing Anthony Richardson. And we saw it again this week. I mean, those dudes were in the backfield. Danielle Hunter has the game-sealing, sack against Richardson deep in their own territory. This is going to be a dynamic duo the rest of the season.
Yeah. We do a lot of, after 4 weeks, we kind of do a lot of, digging a little deeper, who started slow, what's going to change. But I think, honestly, for a lot of these NFL teams, Week 8 is the real analyzing period, to where you're like, all right, who's going to pick it up? Who's been disappointing? Who do we need to give some more PT to? And that's another thing, too. I don't even know if they're in the ranks or if they're actually in, the ADP. But Adam had from 2023, the first 8 games versus the last 8 games.
Those are the logs, right?
And a ton of those players have some crazy variation. Matt Judon had a crazy beginning to the last 2 years, honestly. And then the last 8 games, he would have 1 sack.
Well, Bob, I'm so glad you said something about that.
I don't like when he talks like
I
this.
queued
It
you
makes
up
me
for that
real nervous.
Well, we got 8 weeks in the books, boys.
Do you have the splits?
We got some splits.
Let's go. I was going to say, that is the cutoff point for your splits, right?
Yeah.
Weeks 1 through 8?
Yeah. All right. So, now we got 1
Knock
through
all
4.
the beers
We
on the
got
floor.
1 through 4, and then we got weeks 4 through 8. So let's look at the last 4 weeks, boys.
So we're doing splits.
We're doing splits.
I love it.
All right.
Splits.
So over the last 4 weeks, your number 1 player as far as points per game goes, Andrew Van Ginkel, 26 points per game.
The long-haired
That is
beauty.
insane.
The long-haired beauty.
What a stud. TJ Watt is number 2, 24.1 over the last 4 weeks. Ivan Pace Jr., number 3, 22.9.
Wow.
Nakobe Dean, number 4, 22.6 points per game since week 4. Will Anderson's number 5, 22.5. JOK, number 6.
Hope he's okay.
For real, man.
With
Took
the
a
injury.
big shot this past weekend. He's averaging 22.3 points per game. Brian Branch, 22.1. Brian Burns, he's balling 21.5 over the last 4. Dexter Lawrence is 9th.
Sexy Dexy. My goodness.
Insane, yeah. 28 tackles, 9 sacks this season for Dexter Lawrence. 21 points
Oh,
per
my
game.
gosh.
Over the
Wow.
last 4. Alex
Deep-
Highsmith, he's back, but just 2 games.
D-tackle 1
D-tackle 1 right now.
on
Yep.
the season.
Pat Surtain's been really good over the last 4 weeks. 20.1 points per game. He had
at
that
you,
game where
Pat
he had
Surtain.
2 pick sixes, I think, right? So
That helps. That helps.
Kaham, 19.6 points per game.
Is that the second safety behind Branch that you've mentioned?
Yep.
Nice.
Dante Fowler's up here thanks to his 2 big weeks, 19.3 since week 5. And then Sam Hubbard's up here. Diamador Lenore, Marlon Humphrey. Antoine Winfield's been hot. He's averaging
Came back to earth a little bit this week, but man, started off so good.
17.6 points per game over his last 3, so that's what you like to see. Trayvon Walker's been good, 17.5 points per game over his last 4.
Have you officially flipped them in your dynasty rankings? Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker?
I'm looking right now.
Have I?
I feel like that's probably
So-
coming if it's not already here, right?
So right now, Josh Allen, edge 11. And
Not yet, then.
No, not yet. Trayvon Walker, edge 15, but that's
Okay.
probably going to happen soon.
They're getting closer and closer
Give
every
it some
day.
time.
Every
still
day.
feel like-
2 ships passing in the night.
Right. I just still feel like the name value and history will carry Allen a little bit.
For
but
sure.
maybe not. I mean, Trayvon Walker's been playing great right now, and then, I mean, I feel like he has a lot of stink on him from like.
Yep.
I don't know.
Just being the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Jadeveon Clowney
and then like all the heat they took
kind of syndrome.
when really it wasn't that bad of a pick. You know, now that like it was over.
You took him over Hutch, which is a tough look.
Which is bad. But I mean, the other one that was Kayvon, was that the other one that everyone was all upset about? And that's like a W for Jacksonville.
For sure.
I think you would have him, I guess, probably second right now. Each of those guys, I think, in their own tier. Like, I would not put Trayvon in the Aiden tier. I also wouldn't put Trayvon in the Kayvon tier.
Yeah. Hey, but Trayvon's leg's just fine. I'll say that. Shots fired, Aiden. Do something.
Gosh, man. Just some really brutal.
I'm against him now.
Yeah.
You've turned.
Yeah.
You've turned against
I hate
Hutch
him.
for
I hate
some
him.
reason.
He ruined IDP this year.
He
really
ruined
did.
it.
So
He ruined
He
it.
kind of did.
Speaking of splits, so let's just say for the next 4 weeks.
What's y'all's favorite ice cream?
Yeah, I love a good little split. But who's a player that you think, has kind of been down maybe the last little bit, kind of been underproductive? Who do you think could maybe turn it around for the next little month? Who are you looking forward to? I'll start and give y'all a second to think. Kalijah Cansey, kind of took a little while. He's been banged up so far this year. Only has 10 tackles in 3 games and only has 1 sack. Has kind of been playing a limited amount of snaps, hovering around that 60% snap rate there for Tampa Bay. But I'm interested to see what Cansey looks like. Maybe not the next 2 weeks because pretty tough teams, Kansas City and San Francisco, and then they're bye. But then New York Giants, Carolina, Las Vegas, the Chargers, Dallas, Carolina, and New Orleans to finish the season. So D tackle's been hard for you, boy. Ever since my love of my life, Aaron Donald, has retired, it's been tough to kind of fill 40% of those shoes. So Kalijah Cansey, let's get it going here for the second half of the season.
What do you think about your boy Grenard? Is he gonna?
Yeah, I like him.
I'm just looking at the log right now. He has had 2 double-digit games so far this season. So a little quiet.
I like him to pick up.
But getting the snaps, I think we mentioned Khalil Mack earlier is one that makes sense. Looking at the log here, he has had, he's actually been pretty solid the last few weeks. Double-digit, but it's been like 12, 10.75, 14.8.
Maybe Latu.
Yeah, Latu would
I
be
like
one.
that.
Yeah.
Cooper DeJean. I think that's someone you can expect to have.
What, baby?
I mean, he's averaging 13.2 points per game over his last 3, and he's got great usage.
I have Tyreek Stevenson in our main league. I think I have to cut him just to send a message to the locker room, right?
Yeah,
After
that's
his
worth it.
performance against the Commanders.
You can't do that. You can't be seen with him on your squad.
Yeah, got to cut him.
He's actually been pretty good, though. Shout out. I think, guys like Ed Oliver could have a big second half, right?
Are there any linebackers who are just kind of middling right now?
So I did want to bring this up because it's my team. I want to pay attention to it, and I actually kind of wanted to dig into it. But Omar Spates only played 22 snaps last week, but did have a 78 grade in tackling and then had a 67 overall grade. Didn't really do much, 3 tackles, 1 assist. But if for some reason Reeder and Roseboom, I think Roseboom's been a little bit banged up. I think Reeder also too. Man, Spates is just sitting there. If he can just be competent enough, he could be a nice little just freebie for us. I'm sure he's available in a bunch of leagues too. Is Jerome Baker going to play in Tennessee?
Yeah, I think the
so.
expectation is he'll be out there after
100%
he learns
of
the
snaps,
playbook.
you think?
Yeah, probably so. It'll be like what him and Ernest were doing.
Yeah.
What
about Peyton Wilson? Can he get any higher?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe so.
What about Okereke? Been a little bit quiet. I'm just looking at highly drafted
He was good.
linebackers.
He was good. He was good this last weekend. So yeah, I like him to have a better second half.
We talked about him being a buy.
Patrick Queen,
No, Okereke.
just going to keep going. No, I'm saying Patrick Queen's the next
Oh,
one. I'm just
yeah.
kind of looking at highly drafted players here who maybe haven't lived up to expectations.
Like Danielle Autry's coming back. That could be interesting. He could give you some fun weeks there in Houston. We just talked about all those guys that they have. So
Yeah.
good environment for him. Preston Smith, he started out really slow. I feel like he's going to bounce back in the second half.
Anzalone. Aaron had a great note in his write-up for this week that if you just look at the games where he's played and do his points per game, he'd be LB5 on the season.
Wow.
But right
he's
now,
sick.
But right now he's LB30 just because he's been out. So
Yeah, he's having a really good year.
Jack Campbell, I think 90% of snaps.
Jack Campbell
That was
good.
encouraging. So
Also, let's go back to Pat Queen real quick because I pulled up the numbies. I wanted to see the PFF grades. But 83.9% pass rush grade there last week. getting back to what he does best. I think that's what Pat Queen is there for.
Still has no sacks, though, right? Zero
Correct.
sacks on
Zero
the season?
sacks
Yeah.
and only 4 pressures, but did have a 63 grade in tackling and a 64 run defense grade, which sounds kind of okay, but that's a lot better than it has been. I mean, he's had a lot of red throughout the season. So actually the last couple of weeks for Pat Queen look decent. They look 65-ish to 70. So who knows?
Witherspoon, surely to God,
Yeah.
the second half's going to be better than the first.
Yeah.
Been a tough look for your boy,
Yeah.
but I feel like we're going to have a better second half for him. No big play so far. Surely they start falling his way a little bit. Max Melton's a guy that I kind of like in Arizona. Their second round rookie pick this past draft, cornerback there. He's starting to get some opportunity, and he's playing really well. 11 points last week, 18.75 the week before that. So
I do like a maximum amount of Melton.
yeah, another max.
I don't want a minimum amount of Melton.
This is a single X max we got.
Got to get that up. Got to get that X count up.
Also, Addy, your boy Drew Phillips is back in play.
Are we talking D-Roo, like D-Roo Tranquil?
So he's Andrew, I think, on Sleeper. But
he's DRU, right?
He's DRU
Sure.
in a
man.
bunch of places.
Love that.
Had a pretty good game yesterday. So
I am like 99% sure the picture of Patrick Queen on Sleeper is not, in fact, Patrick Queen. Y'all take a look at this real quick. Is that Patrick Queen? I don't think that's Patrick Queen. I think Sleeper may be playing some games.
Could have been a bad picture day.
Could have been a bad picture day. Bobo, I'm sorry I cut you off. Drew Phillips.
no, that's it. I just be aware. He's back.
Yeah,
back.
I like him. He's gonna have a nice role in the slot there for the Giants.
Because he had a moment there.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Then he got hurt, right?
Yeah.
Well, there you go, folks. Week 8 recap for you all. Hope you enjoyed this episode. What was your biggest headline from this week? If you're watching on YouTube, drop it in the comments. We appreciate y'all checking out the show over there. YouTube.com/@the-IDP show. Jace will be back this week with Aaron Evers, who wrote the recap we've mentioned and wrote the notes that we used for this article. So check that out, the IDP After Show. We're happy to have Jace back this week. IDP Bets with Scott Soltis on Friday. We'll have Jackson Schwam and Jeff Pomazal doing the Sunday morning live stream, so check that out. So
Shout out Jackson.
yeah, getting him on the stream finally to answer some questions for us. So yeah, it's going to be a good week of content here. And of course, Mike Wohlert cranking out content. Johnny the Greeks, Cornerback Corner just went live. So tons of great stuff for you all. TheIDPshow.com. Boys, it was good to get in here and talk a little ball with y'all. What do you say we do it again next week?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right. When is this Vikings game you're going to?
17th. It's gonna be that the day after the wedding that we.
Oh my God, you are going to be in a bad spot.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be a little responsible for
Little responsible
on the
boy?
wedding, so I don't run the boys' first time at the.
It's an 8-hour wedding, so
Yeah,
that's going to be a grind.
I'm
This is
sure-
what you were built for.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be fine.
I'm sure he won't. It'll be rough stuff. We look forward to hearing your
Get a good
boots
look
on
at
the
him.
ground report.
Puking all over my boy.
Yeah, just
This
vomiting.
is what the NFL's all about.
You ain't been to a game till you've been puked on, bud. And let us know in the comments if that's Patrick Queen's picture on Sleeper. I'm still not convinced. But until next week, y'all take care, enjoy the football, and we'll see you soon.
It's the IDP show, now you know.